We're as ready as we're going to be.
All right. Welcome back to the real estate circuit, builders, brokers, and beyond. Today I have with me Tracy Henry from eXp Realty. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the industry.
Yes, I can. I started getting the real estate bug around 2015. I went to one of these 3-day weekend Van Merrill things. And from that point on, I was addicted to real estate. It was something I'd wanted to get into for a lot of years, but the kids were young and I kind of got talked out of it one time. But now the kids were getting older. So I was like, okay, so next thing you know, I'm wholesaling and then the market's going as we saw all the way through COVID and that. So I decided I should get my license because a lot of people just needed a list. And I got my license in 2017 and I've been with eXp ever since.
Cool.
I have my own branding now. I'm called a homeofakind.com because your home is a one of a kind to you.
I love that. I love that. So, Tracy, do you specialize in anything specific, or I guess another good question would be so two in one.
Right.
Specialize in anything, and then also if you have any clients that you focus on in particular, like first time home buyers, or do you work with everybody?
I, it's hard to say you work with everybody because you tend to travel down certain things, but I guess my specialty really is just I'm residential. I don't do commercial, not yet anyway. I don't particularly do land and ranch. And any of these things that I don't do, I partner with another agent at eXp. And that worked out really good. I sold my first luxury property by partnering with someone. And I have sold anything from land to build a custom home on. I've helped people do that all the way up to I've helped people with mobile homes. That's a special field. You got to know some stuff about that.
Mhm.
And then all the way up to multi-million dollar properties, regular houses, condos, townhomes. So pretty much as long as it sticks in the residential area, I just like it all.
Very
So
cool. Very cool. Well, me being a mortgage broker with Nexa, we have programs for all of those things you just mentioned. So, mobile homes.
oh, do you? I did not know
Yeah,
that.
we do. I just found
Goodness, they said we didn't know this.
I just found it out, and the program itself sounds really cool. It doesn't require a bunch of seasoning, and just I need to start pitching it more.
Okay, well, there you go. Now you pitched it.
Yeah. Do you? I mean, I know the market's been kind of tough this last couple of years, especially here in Colorado. Do you, like in particular, what kind of questions have you been getting from people?
Well, I'm actually licensed. I should point this out that I'm licensed in Texas, where I grew up, and in Colorado, where I live, where my husband grew up. And the same questions have been coming about. It's more, are there any programs, but they don't have affordability? And of course, everybody wants to know how's the market. So the quick market snapshot is just that the interest rates went way up. And there's good reasons. There's reasons why that happened. The interest rates are now going down, and so we're seeing a lot more buyers come into the market, but it's a slow trickle because of affordability. But typically, when interest rates go up and things happen, the market corrects a little faster and the home prices go down. And so that's really what everyone wants to know. Is the market correcting itself? It's trying to. In November and December, we actually have a lot higher pending home sales in new builds and regular for the first time in 9 months.
That's great news.
So we do have a lot more inventory, but we still don't have as much inventory as people would say, okay, it's a buyer's market. But what's interesting is it really is a buyer's market at this point. So, I know there's a lot of buyers out there on the fence. Have you had a lot of people doing that too?
But before I go into that, I was going to mention something about the affordability you were talking about because
Yeah.
we do have a lot of products for especially first time home buyers with the 3% down instead of having to do five. And then we also have down payment assistance. So, a lot of people out there don't, they have everything to qualify them, but they don't maybe have the down payment saved
That
up.
can be a lot. Yeah.
It can be. And, as we roll into that next question about people on the fence, I'd like to say that there's a big pushback on that with people not wanting to buy because they think, that it isn't a good time because of whatever the reasoning is. But ultimately, right now it is. And the reason that I think it is not just because I'm in the market, but
Right.
because, a lot of people are offering seller concessions or you're able to ask for those seller concessions. So if you pair seller concessions, which if some of you don't know what that is, that's when the seller offers a certain amount of money to be able to help you with closing costs.
And they can offer up to 6%, right?
With a lot of programs, yeah, it depends on how much down in a lot of cases, but FHA definitely allows that much. Conventional, it depends on your down payment. But if you pair that with your down payment assistance options that I have, you might be bringing very little to the table. Maybe you're only paying for your appraisal and your credit report and everything
And
else.
your inspection, don't skip the home inspection.
Don't skip
Don't skip
that.
that.
Oh, no, no.
Don't skip.
No. So yeah, I mean, definitely I get that all the time. People are always concerned with buying right now. And so, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think some of the buyers that are on the fence for sure are just, it's the affordability and it's not even the down payment, it's the monthly payment.
Sure.
And that has to do with the interest rate.
Mm.
But as the interest rate keeps dropping, and I think we're going to see that a little more. I don't think it's going to just, I think a lot of them are waiting for either housing prices to really drop or they're waiting for interest rates to really drop. And we're not seeing that. And the signs in the market are not showing that that's going to happen. Um, Prices have gone down. Like, for example, I'm in Longmont. Just this last week, 41% price decreases. So we're seeing price decreases because properties, they list at whatever price they are, and then they sell for a percentage of that. And we're seeing an average of 96 to 98% on that sales price. So just because that sales price says 500,000, 600,000, that doesn't mean it's going to go under contract for that. And we're also seeing all these sellers out there offering 10,000 or more concessions. It's almost a given. And these concessions can be used to help you with those closing costs, that down payment. And I just don't think buyers understand that.
Right.
And I think that's why so many are still stuck on the fence because they don't understand. But I will tell you this, buyers, I've got a message for you. When those interest rates drop, we are already seeing more and more buyers come in the market. And if they drop even just a little bit, another every quarter percent or that they drop, we see another group of buyers that have been sitting on the fence. If
Mhm.
you wait until they all get there this spring, you won't get seller concessions. These
Right.
things are going to go away. And so that's why I think it's important that the buyers on the fence understand that it's better to buy when the market's slow because you get a better deal.
Yes. Well, and to add to that too, like she said, you're waiting for the rates to come down. Well, guess what's going to happen if the house is sitting right now at 400,000, for example, and you end up either wanting seller concessions, you may not get them. Um, but also everybody else is waiting for that. So you may end
They
up
are.
bidding more, where
Mhm.
instead of paying
That's what I'm gonna do.
400,000, you're paying 450 or 500,000, which is therefore putting your monthly payment right back up to where you would be right now. And another thing to think about too with those seller concessions is, a lot of times if a buyer's not offering them and you're requesting them, they may increase the purchase price by the amount of
There
concession
are ways
they're
to
giving you.
juggle. Yes, there are.
But think about it this way. If you're asking for, let's say, 15,000, 20,000, if that's able to be given in that house and that loan amount, um, you aren't going to be paying that much different on your monthly. So an extra
True.
$20,000 spread over 30 years is not going to change your monthly payment that much. So don't panic and freak out and run from that house because they increase the purchase price just to give you concessions. You're gonna be fine. And also you can use those concessions to buy the rate down even more. So just keep those things in mind.
Yes, and your lender
Mhm.
can help you with those net sheets and show you the difference. You'll be surprised. I think people just don't know that certain 10,000, 20,000 doesn't make the difference they think it's going to make.
It really
And that's why they really need to lean on your lender for those net sheets and lean on your realtor for all those ideas on how to juggle the numbers.
yeah.
Like, have you ever been to the car dealership?
Mhm.
You go to the car dealership and it's that back and forth, you're juggling the
Mhm.
numbers, and they're like, oh, well, if you need a payment of this, we can make it work this way. We can do that with houses too.
Mhm.
So, and I think a lot of people just don't know that.
Yeah. Well, and
So,
as always, too, I mean, my consultations are always free. I talk to people no matter what. I mean, obviously, I would love to work with you and have you use me, but if you have questions and you don't end up liking me, which I don't know why you wouldn't.
I said the same thing. I'm like, it's the first conversations are free. We have to get to know each other, make sure we can communicate well, and
Well, yeah,
make sure that I can see your vision
there's
because it's all about you. It's about the client. It's
yeah,
not
and
about
there's
us.
and there's so many people out there who don't think that they can qualify for a home. I just spoke with somebody the other day that said I don't have a chance in getting financing, and we had a discussion, and he actually has three options. So talking with somebody like myself, especially, I mean, I'm not saying don't talk to Tracy or a real estate agent first,
Because I'm going to tell you to talk to your lender. So
well,
I'm going to tell you.
getting that pre-approval is huge because it helps you know that yes, you can afford something and maybe it's even more than you want to spend, but at least then when you do go talk to your agent, you know what you're needing to look at in those price points. And I'm sure, I don't know, do you set up people with like home searches so that they
You can set up a free home search. If you need to sell and buy, like say you're downsizing or upsizing, those things, we can also get you a property valuation and we can do a CMA. That's all free. That way we can kind of see about what we think your home might contract for. So we can work those numbers with that lender. But if you only have what's called a pre-qualification, you can speak to this more than me. Pre-qualification is kind of like this little, yeah, you told me something and this is what you qualified. That's not a pre-approval. Your lender's going to need to ask you some financial information that they keep private in order to really know what you can buy. Because the last thing you want to do is go out there and find your dream home,
Mhm.
and and then you can't afford it, or there's something about that home that might not qualify, say your FHA. Not all homes qualify for FHA. It's just they have to, there's many puzzle pieces. And together, I think that's where both of us, have our little free options to get you started.
Right.
Education, I've been a teacher in my past as well. So education, I'm really big on that. I think it's important. And speaking of that, I wrote a few books, just to let you know, I got a book about buyers, how to buy a house, a book about sellers, how to sell your house, and another book for inherited homes because that's a whole different ball game. I've had to deal with. I'm older, so I've had to deal with that in my life, inheriting a home and not knowing, anything about it. And I learned a few things the hard way, but I can help you like not do. So
Perfect. Yeah, and that pre-qualification like she was talking about is it's raw numbers over the phone. I mean, I do that with all my first initial conversations with my clients and I'm not looking at anything. I've had several people do that where they call me, get a pre-qual, and then they start going and looking at houses and they want to make an offer. Well, most of these people won't even accept your offer if you don't have a pre-approval letter from a lender. So keep that in mind.
well, I have to remember too that part of I did a funny video, you can look it up on YouTube. It's about absorption rate, but it's also about Betty the buyer and Sally the seller and how the teeter-totter market we are in right now. Our sellers are still thinking they can get that top dollar like they did when the interest rates were low.
Mm.
So they're having to learn some lessons. So they're overpricing homes, and that's scaring buyers away. But there's just so much back and forth going on, and it's a seller's market, it's a buyer's market, it's this and that. The sellers think it's a seller's market and the buyers think it's a buyer's market. So being pre-approved is still very much the sellers want it. If you're not fully pre-approved, and they don't have a good letter from a lender, they're not going to accept your offer. They're
Yeah.
just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it also gives me the ability to call the seller on your behalf once you and your real
yes,
estate agent make an offer
that's really helpful.
and talk you up and let them know how good of a file you have and potentially even that you've already been through underwriting, which I do a lot of times with my clients, which also speeds up the process. So, um, I think you were telling me something about a specialized program or something that you run.
Have this fun little thing I have figured out from being an investor. I'll just say, wholesaling properties means you've got to go out and find off market properties. So I combine that talent with the retail market, the MLS, which we all have access to as realtors. But I have a lot of different hacks to find off market properties. There are people sitting in their home today that thinking about selling, maybe in a month or two, maybe 6 months. But if they get the right information that there's a buyer looking for just that kind of a house, a lot of times it'll nudge them. So my program is called the Perfect Home Finder Program. We use that to find the neighborhoods you like. And then if there's not the right home in that neighborhood, we can send out some information to some of the right homes. And a lot of times we can pull some off market listings for you. So I can help you with a list of off market homes.
That's
And
very cool.
that just gives you a lot more choices as a buyer. So you don't have to settle for that one house in the school district you want because it's just not the right fit. We're going to do our best to find you that perfect home that fits right for your family size or whatever you've got going on.
Very cool.
So
Very cool. Well, I mean, I also I think a big thing too that I have available to agents and buyers is fast closings. So, especially if and when, well, I should say when it's going to, the market picks back up and there are
It will.
more people buying, it can sometimes help to have a less than 30-day close time. So again, that's another reason why a pre-approval is great to get ahead of time. I could potentially get your file looked at ahead of time, and we can make all of us together can make an offer of 21-day close. And a lot of times we can have that done in less than that, but I like to give a little bit of extra time. But Tracy, I guess what,
As the market picks up to the inspectors and the appraisals, they will get more busy. And if you are fully pre-approved and we know when we're making that offer, before we even turn in that offer, I've already got the inspector on the phone. Now, I can't, and Kim, you can't either. We can't control the appraisal picking of who it is. We don't do that. It's kind of an arm's length thing for the best of everyone.
Mhm.
But if we can get through that inspection and get through all those first things and get those checked off really quickly, and you are fully pre-approved walking in the door making that offer, then that appraisal can be ordered too.
Yep.
And that's what takes the longest, I think, in
Yep.
the whole process is getting the appraisal of the home done because the home has to be approved just like you do. So,
When the market picks up for sure. And that's one thing that like I need people to be on top of things, because when I submit that initial disclosure to you and you sign it, as soon as you sign that thing, I can get your appraisal ordered. And therefore that speeds process up a little bit. If we have to, we can ask for a rush, but then that's going to cost you extra money. We try not to do that. But yeah, I mean that's a really huge piece. I kind of
that's good. To mention, like, there can be extra fees sometimes, and that has been scaring a lot of buyers.
Mhm.
I had some that I was doing an interview to, and I just Googled what they told me, hidden fees. And I am shocked at how, people use a negative headline. And if you read the article, nothing they're talking about is not something that I show them before they even get into it. I love working with first time home buyers because they don't know anything and I like to educate. On the other hand, they get so scared away by some of the things on Google. So it's kind of like going to the doctor. Don't Google it first. I know
Right.
you want to do some research and I think it's good, but I also think it's important to talk to a lender or a real estate agent or someone that knows something about it so that you're not just randomly Googling things because it can really get you
Oh
confused.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and sometimes it doesn't know what it doesn't know, right? I mean,
Sometimes it
talk
doesn't.
talk to somebody who knows. And I even am happy to. I know people shop, and it's smart too. I personally
Mhm.
hate it as a lender, but I know people do it. It's smart too. But but I also always welcome people to send me what they got. Like if they're using somebody else and they got their fee sheet from somebody, and you think it's high, or maybe you're not sure if you're looking at the right thing, I don't care if I am being used or not. I will look at it for you. I will make sure that you are seeing everything that you need to see, because the last thing that I want for you or for your real estate agent or anybody involved in the transaction is for you to get to the closing table and be short. And I've heard that happen so many times because a lot of people don't disclose everything because they don't want you to run for the hills. I, on the other hand, always over disclose at the initial beginning, because if you're comfortable with that number, you're probably going to love the closing table numbers because they're always, always, always lower.
Yes, it's really important to understand the fees they think so. And I think you need to know all the fees. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because I've seen lenders or I've heard stories of lenders or people where there was a rush fee added in. They didn't tell anybody, the clients didn't understand it. And in the long run, they were short, like you said, because they
Mhm.
didn't know that, the lender said, oh, well, we can just change this. They didn't say it was going to cost more money.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know our buyers are a little tight on funds.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's always good to know those things up front. It's super important. So, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss
I do
today?
not know. I don't know. There's so much to real estate. I could sit here and talk real estate all day.
Well, I know that you mentioned your book, so I'll make sure that I have a link to. You have a link for that, like for online?
It's on my website,
Okay.
homeofakind.com, and reach out to me. Right now, I'll be honest, I switched CRMs, so my website doesn't have the books on there yet like it did. And that, but if you just reach out to me, a homeofakind.com, because your home's a one of a kind to you, or just look up Tracy Henry Realtor and just get a hold of me, reach out to me, and I've got those books. If you're someone that I interview, even if I just get a free interview and we don't end up working together, the book is free. So you don't have to go buy it at Amazon or any of that. So I do it for free as a service for education because I want you to know what you're getting into when you're buying a house.
I actually have
So,
some lender ones too. I should give you a
do
couple
you
so
have
you
some?
can
Yeah,
provide.
you should.
Yeah.
You should.
I'll make sure that I have Tracy's information included at the description of this podcast. And
I guess the only thing we didn't talk about that I forgot to mention in my earlier part was I do have some special certifications,
oh yeah,
and one of them is VA. So I'm fully certified. I did not serve, but just about every man in my family did, and even my one of my nieces as well. So, and I'm also a member of the Elks Lodge. So I'm really proud of that VA certification. There's some definite things you need to know, programs to take advantage of, and how to get through that process. So I'm also luxury certified. I am relocation certified. I have moved from state to state 4 times. I have a free, cute little way to pack everything. It's a little PDF packing list.
really?
And you can tell even if you're moving across town. You will know where every single tiny little hair clip or belt or sock is in every single box if you use my method. So,
That's fantastic.
so that's a fun thing too.
Packing is
Have a packing list.
packing is the worst. I hate it.
I know, but if you do it right, the unpacking is so much
No,
better.
that is so true. Or if you
So,
don't unpack right away,
yeah.
you at least know where to find things.
Well, once you talk about my VIP box, you'll know exactly what goes in there.
Oh, that's
So
great.
that's a lot of fun.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to mention today?
No, just don't sit on the fence. If nothing else, just get a free consultation. That's my main message today.
Agreed.
Don't sit on the fence.
Agreed. And don't think you can't do it. If you can't, I'll let you know. But where there's a will, there's a way, and we have so many programs. It's crazy.
It's not, and I had a client that I closed on just this last August, 4 years, 4 years, first time home buyer. They just had some challenges with this and challenges with that, but you know what? We didn't give up. We just kept working on each little item till they're all checked off the list. And they closed on their house just this past August.
That's
And I
awesome.
am telling you, talk about a kid in a candy store. We're both so excited. I think we were jumping up and down. We have some crazy, funny pictures from it
Oh,
because we were so excited.
that's
It
probably
was just a mission of the heart.
that's probably one of my favorite things is at the closing table. Uh-huh. It's the best.
I always tell my clients when we get to closing, I'm like, all right, you better come dressed picture ready because I'm taking your picture. You go.
Well, yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorite parts. And another thing too, like with my consultations, if you maybe you got low credit, we can go as low as 500 in a lot of cases. And if you don't want to purchase at that lower rate, that's totally fine. We can do a soft pull on your credit, take a look at it. There might be a way we can get that bumped up naturally in the 30 to 60, 90 days. And then as you're waiting for that to increase, you go start shopping and we'll be ready to roll. So
Yeah.
I'm scared of either one of us. Just
Yeah, don't be scared.
reach out.
And this whole rate buy down thing, I know lenders can tell you a lot about that, but there's ways to get seller concessions that pay for that. So a lot of people think, oh my gosh, well, if I have to buy the rate down, that's even more than the down payment. And they really start running numbers in their head that are not real at all.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to talk to your lender.
Yes.
Lender knows all those numbers. And if you don't know a lender, I know one.
I'm sure you know. I'm sure you know several. But
Me too, yes. We're a good one right here. So
thanks.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
well, again, Tracy, I thank you so much for
Thanks,
joining me today.
thanks for having me. This is fun. We're gonna have to do it again sometime.
Definitely.
The market is constantly shifting.
Once the market comes back up, we'll get back together and we'll tell all you out there that you should have done it sooner and
Uh-oh.
what we can do now. Just kidding.
The market is constantly changing.
It for sure
Constantly
is.
changing. There's one last thing I should touch on if we have a minute. Here's a new one is buyers are so worried they're going to buy a house right now and that the price is going to drop, even a little bit.
Severe.
Do you know? I just was going over all of this with data and research. Housing prices have only dropped 7 times in since the beginning of data. for housing, which is a long, long time. They've actually only dropped 7 times, and every single time they've always come back and more. So they are a strong investment. So
Agreed.
they are a strong long-term investment.
Don't wait on the fence.
Don't wait.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Have a good
Thanks.
day, everybody.
Bye.